But this is kind of a glimpse of what that system's going to look like. Here's another one of the tasks for Bounty Hunter and Jedi both. There's 2 different tasks. For a total of, there's 100 points worth of stuff that you could spend on. You only have 45 points to spend, so you really have to pick and choose and decide what you want to specialize in. The nice thing about the system is you're actually going to be able to lay out your points, try them out, figure out what you want to do before you actually have to commit to anything. So you can kind of play around and see what it looks like and what you get.
I can't see. Can't see.
So again,
That's in diversification and combat logback. Wouldn't it be easier to roll back and then to add this into a new system? We had that before.
Okay, so I'm going to be very precise. Just, what do you mean by roll back? Be very precise about that. PCU. All right, so there's probably a lot of different ways to answer that, and I'll give the dev team the opportunity to as well. I was playing PCU. There were a lot of things about the PCU that were fundamentally broken in the game, and well, the difference between the new system today and the pre-CU is that the game is manageable. We have a laid out plan for this year to polish it, to make it work, to not only make the professions work well together, but to also have content for them. And that is exactly what you guys have been asking for years. And even though we would have loved to have maintained such a scope,
you unveiled a list of different skills and abilities. The bounty hunter class was more described as a damage sponge at that point, and it just seems kind of out of place. Because a hunter by nature is offensive, so having them taking damage, to the level they are going to be able to do, it seems that would be better tailored for maybe like a commando. And the Jedi system seems like there is more diversity now, but now it seems that we're kind of just a melting pot of different skills, but we're not exceedingly good at any of them. We're just kind of in the middle. And it seems that in a situation we should have the same damage output as any high end, but we have to go that path. We have to go a defensive path. And it seems that's the only thing we have to see so far, since we have to critique what we see.
Okay, I encourage you better.
Quick question. Like I was telling Grant before, my guild Galaxies Dojo, we have kind of the line stuff. Is there a way you can make a tab where if you have guild alliances, you can talk, like you have guild chat, and you have like an alliance chat? Or if you can, maybe put in, like I know D&D Online has a thing where you can talk to other players over the internet. Can you guys add something like that into it?
So I'll get to the second portion of that first. The voiceover stuff is something that we certainly talked about internally. Right now, we've certainly got a whole list of things right now that we're working on getting into the game that we feel are probably a higher priority than that. Would we ever put that in the game? Possibly. Like I said, we've been discussing it. It's just there's other things like the expertise system, things like that are currently a higher priority. As far as the flexibility of the chat channels, it's something I can make a note of and do some investigation to see if that's possible or not, and what would be involved with that.
it's not the actual species. Well, is there another way to do it? Yes, there is. Obviously, we could. We feel that the game before these actual enhancements was extremely layered and extremely complex on so many levels that a lot of people didn't understand what the heck was going on. And in favor of trying to get more and more and more galaxies full of people, we want to give complexity, but not to the level that it just becomes too hard for people to understand. Yeah, so that layer was taken away.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking that you can also implant that in a minor way, but still keep it at while still keeping it simple. You can have diversity between races while keeping it simple and not having a large impact on it. But it's what makes people feel that much more connected to it. They feel more connected with their characters if they feel
kind of like how Zabrex had the equilibrium, that Trando starts at the regen.
Well, do you ever post to the forums ever?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you start a thread on that? Because it's really, I mean, I'm not going to ask you to put yourself in my shoes, but I'm going to ask you to put yourself in my shoes. What's really difficult to do a lot of the time is find that there's an idea that wants to go this path, and then there's an opposite or different idea that either complements or opposes it.
Yeah.
And we have to make a choice, because we can't do both.
Yeah.
In this case, do we make them different, or do we just make them visually different? And we try to favor what is the most impact for most, because that way we can at least move forward with the most content, right? So if it comes out that it's really that crucial, it is something we can easily do. I mean, it's just a matter of putting stats on these things. There used to be a Wookiee that was more tank type. There used to be that. I don't know if you remember, but it was in there. And can we bring it back? Yes. Have we not because of general consensus? And that's why that is. Quick photo. I'm sorry.
Whenever you want to perform something, there's always a 1 second. There's 1
That's
second.
the UI. So one of the optimizations that we're doing under the polishing is figuring out how we can make the experience more like when you click, you get a needed action. For example, when you try to click something, the radial takes like a second and a half, right? Okay, the reason that is because in order for you to go from one planet to another, if you haven't loaded a certain UI for the first time in your play session, it needs to go to the server to get it. That's just the way it was optimized originally. So what we're doing is we are grabbing those elements and putting more on your box. We're actually creating a much more client-driven game. It's very dangerous to do that, because what we need to do is do it in such a way that hackers that want to destroy the experience for you don't get too deep in there and screw up the experience for you. Kind of like the extreme would be Diablo. I don't know if you remember Diablo. It was all hacked and it was a disaster. So yes, I hate the fact that I click and all of a sudden the radio comes up and then even a button takes a long time to show. And that is going to be resolved. We've actually tagged particular areas where it's really laggy and awful, including getting on a vehicle, for example, that we are taking those elements, making sure that they can't be reverse engineered and putting them on your client. So when that happens, it'll feel like a console. It'll just be like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
which is the experience that I want to offer, right?
Yeah, because that's what this game really needs right now. Because with this fast-paced action, you really need to make
have like
fast-paced decisions, and you need to have it right.
Yes, and I agree. So we're almost done, right?
That's also an issue with stationary-based abilities as well as folks.
Right.
And that would really help fix
Right. So we have QA that's actually tagging all these for us. As a matter of fact, there's over 150 elements that we're working through. There may be some that we're missing because there's so many. So again, as much as a lot of people think we don't read the forums, we really do. And we get data, and if it's enough impact, then we address it and we put devs on it. If it's 1 out of 1,000, it's hard to do that. But if it's 400 out of 1,000, we're like, okay, wait a minute, there's something going on here that's affecting a lot of people. Let's put some resources on it so that we can address it. And look at it this way, right? If we only have so many devs, we have to make sure we attack the most impactful things. Otherwise, your shit doesn't get addressed. So I hear you, and I experience that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Sorry. All right, we have to head out. It seems they're bringing pianos, but thank you so much.